My wife brought another man into the delivery room and confessed, I'm not the father while I held her newborn. I'm 34 and I'm writing this from my brother's apartment because I don't know where else to go. My wife's name is Vanessa. She's 32. We've been married for 6 years, together for 9. 3 days ago, Vanessa gave birth to our daughter. At least I thought she was our daughter. Her name is Lily. She weighed 7 pounds 4 ounces. She has dark hair and these tiny, perfect fingers. I was there for the entire labor, 22 hours of it. I held Vanessa's hand through the contractions. I coached her breathing. I cut the umbilical cord. When they handed Lily to me, I cried. I'd never felt love like that before. I work as a civil engineer, making about $87,000 a year. Vanessa is a real estate agent. She made around $63,000 last year. We've been trying to get pregnant for almost 3 years before it finally happened. We'd done fertility testing. I had my sperm count checked. Vanessa had her hormones tested. Everything came back normal. The doctors said sometimes it just takes time. When Vanessa told me she was pregnant last November, I was ecstatic. We started planning immediately. We painted the nursery, bought furniture, read parenting books. The pregnancy was mostly smooth. Vanessa had morning sickness in the first trimester, but nothing unusual. We found out we were having a girl at the 20-week ultrasound. I went to every appointment, every sonogram. I was involved in everything. Looking back now, I'm trying to remember if there were signs, moments that should have told me something was wrong. Vanessa was on her phone more than usual during the pregnancy. She said it was work-related, showing houses, communicating with clients. She seemed distant sometimes, but I attributed it to pregnancy hormones. 3 months ago, she mentioned that an old friend from college had moved back to Charlotte. His name was Trevor. She said they'd reconnected on social media, that he was going through a divorce. I didn't think anything of it. She met up with him for coffee once. She told me about it, said it was nice to catch up. I trusted her completely. The labor started early Tuesday morning. Vanessa's water broke around 4 a.m. We grabbed the hospital bag we'd prepared and drove to Carolina's medical center. They admitted her around 5:30. The contractions were irregular at first. I texted our families to let them know. My parents live in Virginia, so they were planning to drive down after the birth. Vanessa's mom lives about 40 minutes away. She said she'd come by later in the day. The labor progressed slowly. By noon, Vanessa was only dilated to 4 centimeters. The nurse said it could be a while. Around 2 p.m., Vanessa asked me to get her some iced chips from the machine down the hall. When I came back, there was a man in the room. It was Trevor. I recognized him from photos Vanessa had shown me. He was standing by her bed, holding her hand. I asked what he was doing there. Vanessa said she'd texted him earlier, that she wanted him there for support. I was confused. I said, I'm here for support. I'm your husband. She looked uncomfortable. Trevor introduced himself, shook my hand, said congratulations. The whole situation felt bizarre, but I didn't want to cause a scene while Vanessa was in labor. I assumed maybe she just wanted extra support, that maybe I was overreacting. Trevor stayed. He sat in a chair in the corner while I stayed next to Vanessa. The labor intensified. By 8 p.m., she was finally at 10 centimeters. The doctor came in, said it was time to push. I held Vanessa's left hand. Trevor stood on the other side of the bed. I remember thinking it was strange, but I was so focused on Vanessa and the baby that I pushed the thought aside. Lily was born at 9:47 p.m. They placed her on Vanessa's chest for skin-to-skin contact. Vanessa was crying. I was crying. Then the nurse asked if Dad wanted to hold her. I reached for Lily, but Vanessa said wait. She looked at Trevor, then at me. She said she needed to tell me something. I asked what. She said Trevor is Lily's father. I didn't understand at first. I thought maybe I'd misheard. I asked her to repeat it. She said she'd been seeing Trevor since March, that they'd slept together multiple times, that she'd gotten pregnant during that time. I felt like the room was spinning. I looked at Trevor. He was staring at the floor. I asked if he knew. Vanessa said yes, that she'd told him 2 months ago. I asked why she didn't tell me. She said she didn't know how, that she was scared, that she thought maybe once the baby was born she could figure things out. I was holding Lily at this point. The nurse had handed her to me before Vanessa's confession. I looked down at this tiny baby, this person I'd already fallen in love with. I asked Vanessa how she could do this. She started crying, saying she was sorry, that she never meant for it to happen. Trevor finally spoke. He said they'd fallen in love, that he wanted to be part of Lily's life. I told him to get out. He said he had every right to be there, that Lily was his daughter. I put Lily back in a bassinet and walked out of the room. I went to the hospital parking garage, sat in my car, and just stared at nothing. I don't know how long I sat there, maybe 20 minutes, maybe an hour. My phone was ringing, Vanessa calling, then my brother Kyle, then Vanessa's mom. I didn't answer. Eventually Kyle texted saying Vanessa had called him, that he was coming to the hospital. Kyle arrived about 40 minutes later, found me in the parking garage. He's 37, works in IT. He's always been the steady one in our family. I told him everything. He was furious, said we needed to go back inside, that I needed to figure out next steps. We went back to the maternity ward. Vanessa was in her room with Lily. Trevor was gone. Vanessa's mom was there. She looked at me with this mixture of pity and discomfort. I asked to speak to Vanessa alone. Her mom left. I asked Vanessa when she was planning to tell me. She said she didn't know, that she'd been hoping maybe Trevor wasn't the father, that maybe it was mine. I asked if she'd done the math on the timing. She admitted she had, that based on when she got pregnant, it was almost certainly Trevor's. I asked why she let me be there for everything, the appointments, the preparation, all of it. She said she loved me, that she didn't want to lose me, that she thought maybe we could work through it. I asked how we could work through her carrying another man's child. She didn't have an answer. I told her I was leaving, that I needed time to think. She begged me to stay, said we needed to talk about this. I said there's nothing to talk about right now. I left and went to Kyle's apartment. That was 3 days ago. I've been staying in his guest room, going through the motions. I called my parents, told them not to come down, that there were complications. I didn't tell them what kind. Vanessa has been texting constantly, saying we need to discuss what happens next, that we're still married, that we need to figure this out. Her mom called yesterday, said I'm being cruel by abandoning Vanessa right after she gave birth. I told her that Vanessa abandoned our marriage months ago. She hung up on me. I contacted a divorce lawyer this morning. His name is Mr. Patel. He specializes in family law. I have a consultation scheduled for tomorrow. Mr. Patel asked if there were any children involved. I said it's complicated. Vanessa wants me to come to the hospital before she's discharged tomorrow. She says we need to talk about logistics. I don't know if I can face her. I don't know if I can see Lily again, knowing she's not mine. I spent 2 days bonding with that baby, holding her, talking to her, imagining our future together. Now all of that is gone. Update, 5 weeks later. I'm updating because the situation has become legally complex, and I need to document what's happening. After my original post, I did go to the hospital the day Vanessa was discharged. I met her in her room. Lily was in the bassinet next to her bed. Vanessa looked exhausted. She'd been crying. She started by apologizing again, saying she knew what she did was unforgivable. I told her I didn't come for an apology. I came to discuss logistics. She asked if I was filing for divorce. I said yes. She started crying harder, said she understood, but that she'd hoped we could try to work through this. I asked her how exactly we'd work through her having another man's child. She said couples therapy, that we could rebuild trust. I told her there's no trust left to rebuild. We discussed immediate practical matters. Vanessa was going to stay at her mother's house for a while. I would move back into our house. We own the house jointly. Bought it 4 years ago for $320,000. We still owe about $240,000 on the mortgage. I asked about Trevor's involvement. She said he wanted to be an active father, that they discussed him being on the birth certificate. I asked if they were together now. She said it was complicated, that they'd been seeing each other, but she wasn't sure about a future together. I asked if she loved him. She said she didn't know. I left after about 20 minutes. I didn't look at Lily. I couldn't. The next week I met with Mr. Patel. He explained that because Vanessa and I were married when Lily was born, I'm legally presumed to be the father under North Carolina law. This means I could be responsible for child support, even though Lily isn't biologically mine. I told him that was insane. He said it's called the presumption of legitimacy, that we need to contest paternity and get a DNA test. He filed the initial divorce paperwork. We cited irreconcilable differences in adultery. Vanessa was served with the papers about 2 weeks ago. Her lawyer contacted Mr. Patel. They want to negotiate terms. Vanessa is asking for spousal support, claiming she can't work full-time while caring for a newborn. Mr. Patel says because North Carolina recognizes adultery as ground for divorce, we have a good case to deny alimony. We're also contesting my obligation to Lily. Mr. Patel filed a motion to establish that Trevor is the biological father and should be listed on the birth certificate. Trevor apparently hired his own lawyer. He's fighting to be recognized as Lily's legal father. It's become this bizarre three-way legal battle. Meanwhile, I moved back into the house 3 weeks ago. It's strange being there without Vanessa. The nursery is still set up. There's baby equipment everywhere. I've been sleeping in the guest room. I can't bring myself to sleep in our bed. I've been throwing myself into work, staying late at the office, taking on extra projects. My boss noticed. He pulled me aside last week and asked if everything was okay at home. I gave him a vague answer about personal issues. My parents finally came down 2 weeks ago. I told them what happened over the phone. My mom cried. My dad was angry. They stayed for a long weekend. They helped me pack up some of Vanessa's things, stuff she'd left behind. My mom kept asking if there was any chance of reconciliation. I told her no. Vanessa has texted a few times, mostly about the legal proceedings. Once she sent a photo of Lily, said she thought I might want to see how she's doing. I deleted it immediately. I can't allow myself to get attached to a child that isn't mine. Last week I had drinks with Kyle. He asked how I was really doing. I told him I felt numb, like I was going through the motions of my life. He said that's normal for what I'm going through, that it'll get better. I don't know if I believe that. The divorce proceedings are moving forward. North Carolina requires a 1-year separation before divorce can be finalized. Mr. Patel says we can finalize most of the property division and financial matters before then. We're dividing assets. The house will likely be sold and we'll split the equity. We have about $80,000 in equity. I'll get $40,000. We also have retirement accounts. Savings, we're splitting everything down the middle. The paternity issue is still being contested. We're waiting on court-ordered DNA testing. Trevor submitted his DNA willingly. The test confirmed he's Lily's biological father. Now we're waiting for the court to formally remove me from legal paternity obligations. Mr. Patel says it should be straightforward given the DNA evidence, but these things take time. Vanessa's lawyer sent a settlement proposal last week. She's asking for me to pay half her legal fees, claiming the divorce was my choice. Mr. Patel laughed when he read that. He's drafting a counter-proposal. I've been focusing on practical ways to move forward rather than dwelling on what happened. I started running every morning before work. The physical exhaustion helps quiet my mind. I reconnected with a friend from college. We've been meeting up for basketball on weekends. It feels good to do something normal, but there are still moments, usually late at night, where I think about that moment in the delivery room. Holding Lily, feeling that overwhelming love, then having it all ripped away. I don't know if I'll ever fully get past that. Final update. 7 months later. I'm writing this final update from my new apartment in Raleigh. The divorce is finalized, and I'm starting a new chapter. After my last update, the legal proceedings dragged on for several more months. The paternity issue was resolved first. The court officially recognized Trevor as Lily's biological father and removed me from any legal parental obligations. I wasn't required to pay child support. My name was removed from the birth certificate. It was a relief, but also strangely final, like officially severing the last connection to that part of my life. The divorce took longer. We had to wait for the 1-year separation period to end. During that time, Vanessa and I communicated only through lawyers. We sold the house in April. It sold for $335,000. After paying off the mortgage and realtor fees, we each walked away with about $42,000. I used my portion as a down payment on a 2-bedroom condo in Raleigh. I've been offered a promotion at work that required relocating to our Raleigh office. It seemed like the perfect opportunity for a fresh start. The new position came with a salary increase to $96,000 a year, plus better benefits. I moved to Raleigh about 4 months ago. The condo is in a newer development. It has floor-to-ceiling windows and a view of downtown. It's completely different from the house I shared with Vanessa, which is exactly what I needed. I've been settling into the new city, exploring neighborhoods, finding new routines. I joined a climbing gym, something I'd always wanted to try, but never had time for. I met a few people through the gym, nothing romantic, just casual friendships. Work has been good. The promotion came with more responsibility, but I've been enjoying the challenge. My new team is great, younger crowd, lots of energy. My boss here is supportive. She's been flexible about work-life balance. As for Vanessa, I heard through mutual acquaintances that she and Trevor are living together. They're raising Lily in a townhouse near Vanessa's mom. Vanessa apparently went back to real estate part-time. Trevor works in finance. I don't know the details and I don't want to. I unfollowed all our mutual friends on social media, blocked Vanessa and Trevor. I needed a clean break. The divorce settlement was finalized 2 months ago. We split everything as planned. Vanessa didn't get spousal support due to the adultery. Her lawyer tried to fight it, but Mr. Patel shut it down. I paid my own legal fees. Total cost was about $11,000, expensive, but worth it to be done. The last communication I had with Vanessa was through her lawyer finalizing the settlement. There was a brief message she asked her lawyer to pass along, saying she hoped I'd find happiness. I didn't respond. I've been focusing on rebuilding my life in practical ways rather than dwelling on the past. I started running along the Neuse River Trail every morning before work. The physical exertion helps clear my head. I reconnected with an old college friend who lives in Cary. We meet up for basketball every Thursday. My brother Kyle visits once a month. We've been exploring Raleigh's food scene together. I've been on a few dates through apps, nothing serious. One woman, her name is Kennedy, I've been seeing for about 6 weeks. She's a graphic designer, 31, never been married. I told her about my situation on our 3rd date. I wanted to be upfront. She was understanding, said everyone has a past. We're taking things slow, just enjoying each other's company. I'm not ready for anything serious, and she respects that. My relationship with my family has improved. My parents visit once a month. They're relieved to see me doing better. My mom said I seem more like myself again. Financially, I'm stable, better than stable actually. The salary increase plus lower living expenses in my new condo means I'm saving more than I ever did. I've been rebuilding my retirement accounts, planning some travel. I'm thinking about going to Iceland next spring, something I always wanted to do. There's still difficult moments. I won't pretend everything is perfect. Sometimes I see a father with a newborn and feel a pang of something, grief, maybe, or loss. I wonder what kind of father I would have been. But those moments are getting less frequent. Mostly I feel okay, sometimes even good. I wake up in my condo with sunlight streaming through the windows, and I feel grateful. Grateful that I found out when I did. Grateful that I had the strength to leave. Grateful for the opportunity to start over. I don't know what the future holds, whether I'll get married again, whether I'll have kids. Right now I'm focused on building a life I'm proud of, one that's mine. The anger has mostly faded, replaced by a quiet determination to make the most of this second chance. I'm learning that some endings aren't failures, but redirections. And this new direction feels like exactly where I'm supposed to be.